Today we are going to talk about the social changes at the end of the 20th century. The 20th century was marked by its rapid population growth, causing significant population changes in the family and social structure. According to the 2000 census, the resident population of the United States was 281.4 million, making it the third most populous nation in the world. The 32.7 million person increase since 1990 represented a growth rate of 13.2% over the decade. The fastest growing regions of the United States in the 1990s continued to be centered in the West and in the South, while slower growth took place in the Midwest and the Northeast. The South, the most populous region with over 100 million people, and the West would continue to enjoy the shift of congressional representatives and electoral votes to their regions, which had helped to make them centers of the political power. A 2000 census reported that more than 80% of the U.S. residents lived in the nation's 280 metropolitan areas, which included cities and their surrounding suburbs. Race and origins. In the 2000 census, Americans could identify their origins by two or more races for the first time, which 6.8 million people did. The white-only population, while growing in numbers, continued to decline as a percentage of the population, from 87.5% in 1970 to 75.1% in 2000. This was largely a result of lower birth rates and shifts in sources of immigration. The percentage of black-only population was 12.3 in 2000, up from 11.1 in 1970. However, the Hispanic population, whose origins may be of any race, was the fastest-growing segment of the population. In 2000, for the first time, Hispanics emerged as the largest minority group in the nation.
The rapid population growth was also because of the introduction and implementation of the 1965 Immigration and Nationality Act, which repealed the quota system, and it actually said an equal sailing of the eligible immigrants from all nations. It actually led to a decline in European immigrants and a growth in Asian, Indian, and Latin American immigrants.
As the United States became more ethnically diverse, the population is also graying with a steady increase of life expectancy. By 2000, 35 million people were 65. But the fastest growing segment of the population were those 85 and over. As the baby boom generation ages, there is growing concern about health care, prescription drugs, senior housing, and Social Security. It is estimated that in 2013 that there will be only about 2 workers for every person receiving Social Security. The decline of the traditional family and the growing number of single-parent families had become another national concern. The number of families headed by a female with no husband soared from 5.5 million in 1970 to 12.8 million in 2000. Single women headed an alarming 47.2% of black families in 2000, but the same trend was also evident in white and Hispanic households with children under 18. Children in these families often grew up in poverty and without adequate support. In many ways, Americans were achieving the American dream. Homeownership continued to climb during the prosperity of the 1990s to 67.4% of all households, up from 62.9% in 1970. Per capita money income in constant dollars rose dramatically from $12,000 in 1970 to $22,000 in 2000. However, the distribution of income varied widely by race, gender, and education. For example, the median income in 2000 was $53,000 in white families, $35,000 in Hispanic families, and $34,000 for black families. High school graduates earned only half the income of their college-educated counterparts.
The end of the 20th century can also be marked by its revolutions in technology. It includes, first, biotechnology. Biotechnology can be marked as its development in the biology, engineering, medicines, and plant science. It is a combination of exciting scientific and technology development in many areas of science. It actually led to the development of agriculture, which led to the mass production of food, which can supplement and supply all the food resources for the increasing populations. Late 20th century can also be marked as its mass communication. Ever since the first satellite was launched in 1962, Americans have used satellites and cellular technology to create worldwide communication. And due to the ethnic diversity in the American population, American political leaders have become increasingly aware of the multicultural nature of American society, making special appeals to Mexicans and Asian Americans. For example, George Bush once said, "We are now one of the largest Spanish-speaking nations in the world. We are the major source of Latin music, journalism, and culture." For years, our nation has debated this change of immigration and change of population diversity. Some have praised it, some have resented it. But by nominating me, my party has made a choice to welcome the new America.